Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of
The Lo and Zo Show.
So today we are leading off a little bit from an episode that we did a number of weeks ago about attraction versus creation. And we got a lot of interesting feedback from you guys about how you felt about that whole topic of just kind of leading away from law of attraction and leading more into the quantum physics side of things and the fact that we really create our realities.
Yes, how you are the powerful one.
Yeah, so today we want to talk to you guys about just how powerful you really are and how your shift in self-perception is really the key to being able to create anything that you want in life.
Yes, so let's get started.
I'm Lo.
And I'm Zo, and this is The Lo and Zo Show.
We're coaches and entrepreneurs who firmly believe that an abundant mind is the key to an abundant life.
On this podcast, we're going to be talking everything from how to manifest more money, travel, success in business, and beyond,
to overcoming the blocks that are holding you back,
to rewiring your brain so you can easily attract whatever it is you want the most in life.
If you haven't already, be sure to join us inside our Facebook community, the Queen Mind Tribe, for daily tips, mindset hacks, manifesting tricks, and more that'll allow you to build the confidence you need
to manifest the abundant AF life you deserve.
Now let's get started. Okay, so we're really excited to dive into today's episode with you guys. I know, speaking for myself, but definitely also for Zoe, we get very fired up talking about, just our capacity to create lives that we absolutely love. It's just the thing that energizes me, and I especially love helping other people to realize their capacity to create.
Yes, definitely. Right. And like Laura mentioned prior to the intro, is that self-perception. When you start to view yourself as a powerful creator, the more and more energy that you can put into that, the more and more you see manifest and create in your life.
Yeah, exactly. So before we dive into that, though, we want to share something really quick with you guys that Zoe and I have been working behind the scenes over the last few weeks on our next course that we are launching together. So we've previously launched a coaching program, but we're shaking things up a little bit. And we had this idea for a course that I know I've never seen anything else like out there in terms of the coaching world, and I'm definitely out there. And yeah, we don't want to give you guys too much information. We're going to be revealing more over the coming weeks, and then we are actually going to be launching this course in February. But what we have decided to do is put together a waitlist. So just if you think you might be interested in any capacity, you want some more information as it becomes available, we're going to put a link in the show notes for you below so that you can jump on the waitlist. This is going to be, we can kind of give you like a few little details. It's going to be a shorter term course, and it's going to be very affordable. This is something like that we're really doing it differently. It's just in terms of how we're structuring it. We just want this to be something that like really lights your 2020 on fire. And
and we want you to recognize your own power. So the course is designed that you will manifest and create over the 4-week program in a way that's really just going to blow your mind.
Yeah. So we can't wait to share more with you guys. If you are wanting information as that becomes available, jump on the wait list. It's really just a list of people that have expressed an interest. Doesn't mean that you're signing up or anything like that, but we're going to put that in the show notes for you guys, and we're going to be slowly revealing more to you over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah. So stay tuned and excited.
Yeah. And we're especially excited too because we actually, I don't know if we've ever actually said this on the podcast, but we are intending to do the Lo and Zo Show in seasons with breaks in between. And so we're going to be bringing this season, number 1, to a close as that course launches.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you guys want to come hang out with us online still and talk all the cool, crazy, weird manifestation, creation, quantum stuff, we're there.
Yeah. Okay. So today's episode. So we really want to talk to you guys about just understanding how powerful you really are and kind of continuing to poke holes at maybe some of the flaws, as I see them anyways, in the whole law of attraction side of things.
Yes.
Is that what you'd call them?
Yeah, definitely. I would just say, like, just the law of attraction in itself limits the amount of power that you have. It almost presents that theme of lack versus abundance. Like, of course, you can know that there's abundance in this world, but to actually view yourself as a creator rather than an attractor,
yes,
you gain all the power.
All the power. And I think that this is like kind of the fundamental, I don't know if the flaw is the right word, because I know a lot of people love talking about law of attraction and that works for them. So that's awesome. I'm not like disregarding that. I'm saying that there are many, many, many people who have a very good understanding of how the law of attraction works and aren't able to create the results that they want or the change that they want in their life, right? And so what Zoe and I, like, this is something we just talk about all the time, and experience in our own lives. What we have been talking about lately is really why that is. And what it comes down to is, at least in my experience, and I know, Zoe, you agree with me on this, is a sort of a misplaced self-perception in terms of how we view ourselves in relation to reality and the way that it is created. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So instead of, like, when we talk about attracting things, it's like what Zoe said, you're still not viewing yourself as nearly as powerful as you actually are.
Yeah, and it still kind of implies this waiting game. Like, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to visualize, I'm going to do all the best practices in the law of attraction and wait for this thing to come to me.
Right.
Rather than viewing it as like, I can come up with, in my imagination, with the exact scenario or what I want to see happen for myself. I can feel those feelings. And instead of rather thinking that they're out there, I have to bring them to me, it's more of like, I'm going to create this. And when I believe it enough, it will be made manifest.
Yeah. Well, and my experience with it has been too, is like, when I create something in my mind, my imagination, that's going to be something we're talking about more in the coming episodes, I don't even have to fully believe it. I just have to visit it emotionally and have an understanding of how my mind or my thoughts create that reality. Like, actually, we talked about the observer effect in one of our previous episodes about how what it is that you are envisioning, like, literally collapses that possibility, that energetic potential into physical reality, right?
Yes. And even you just saying that, what comes to my mind too is that with the law of attraction, it implies that we should fear when we are in that space of anxiety, or fear when we are in that space of just feeling sad or having unpleasant emotions come up, and it creates this fear that I'm going to attract that because I'm feeling that. Whereas, like, when you are the creator, like, I can speak for myself in this. Sometimes I've been in crippling anxiety, yet made a huge manifestation because in my mind previously I'd visited the scenario, like you said, like revisiting it in your mind until it feels real to you. And then once it's ready to collapse, it collapses, whether or not you're in a state of anxiety or sadness or whatever.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I was just talking to our good friend Trevor yesterday about just manifestation and everything. And he has recently become the fiance of another good friend of ours, Tara, who I know a lot of our listeners also follow. And he was talking about when he met her, he was in the most anxious state of his entire life. He had just had a surgery on his eyes and the healing was not going well for him at all. But he had long since set an intention for the type of person that he wanted to meet and the kind of love that he wanted in his life. So even though he was in, like, the most fear of his entire life, he drew her into her life at the time when he needed her most.
Yes.
Right? So it's just interesting that you say that. I know, like, Zoe has also had experiences where you're in a lot of anxiety about, money, for instance, but you've set all these intentions, and when you need them to manifest, they end up manifesting. So it actually takes a lot of the pressure off you to be, like, in this super aligned, happy state all the time, which is absolutely impossible. And I also know that for myself, I used to be so hard on myself thinking, like, if I can't maintain the belief 24/7 that, like, I already have all the money or I already have these results, then they're not going to come, right? Which has just not been my experience. I don't have to be completely delusional in believing that I have something that I don't. I just have to imagine it vividly and experience those emotions and have the understanding that I do about how my thoughts create in order to see that made manifest.
Yeah, and I'm sure those of you out there can probably recognize times too, like those aha moments when you have manifested something that you have seeded in your mind, and seeding being that term of saying, like, felt the emotions, like really felt it out, that in your visualization you felt like it was real, visiting that place. And so you can recognize when you have created things rather than attracted them to you, no matter on how you're feeling. And when you can start to take the perception of, okay, I can create whatever I want, whenever I want, however I'm feeling, and it will still show up as long as I revisit that. That's how you can start to change your self-perception as, I'm not just the attractor, I'm a creator. And when I am creating, and then I attract even more abundance when I recognize my power.
Yeah. Yeah, we were tempted to call this episode "You Are God."
Yeah, well,
Zoe's still hoping for it, but it really does come down to that idea of, like, what if you really believed that you created everything in your world, wanted and unwanted, right? We're going to talk a little bit more about that, and I think that belief comes from an understanding, which we're going to be, talking to you guys about again in the coming weeks. But I think that this is sort of the fundamental flaw for a lot of people with the law of attraction, is that you're still viewing yourself as small. You're still viewing yourself as, like, this tiny little piece, and hopefully the universe gives you what you want,
Yeah.
Rather than, so you're coming from lack and you're trying to create abundance.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming from like still the old paradigm way of thinking, but trying to create, in a new paradigm.
Exactly.
way.
And with that trying,
Yes.
it's not the state of being,
Yes.
as we've talked to you guys before. And with try, it just implies lack, implies that you don't have the power that you need already. You may not, like, and we have spoken a lot about, like, anxiety and emotions on this podcast, and, like, it's natural to feel. But that also says that if you're just viewing yourself as an attractor, whatever you're feeling, you're going to get. But what if you're just the creator and you're just riding out this human experience and you just decide, I want this, I want that. Doesn't matter how I'm feeling. I'm just going to focus on my power, and then you gain it all.
And what if you like we want you guys to ask yourself, if you truly, truly believed that you were the creator of your entire reality, like you were that powerful, like you were the god of your own world, what would you create?
Yeah.
Probably a lot more than like what we're trying to create, which is like just getting by and like,
yes, because that's how you're viewing your power as like,
right.
I'm trying, I have to do, rather than be God,
right?
Create.
Yeah.
Like start to view yourself in that way. Like let this belief, like if it seems to resonate with you on some level, let it sink into your brain a little bit, let it download, and start to change the perception of how you might view this law of attraction or your own power. Let it sink in.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is like really what Zoe and I want to talk about with the remaining episodes in the season, as well as in our upcoming course, is like literally having you guys have a transformation in your identity in the way that you see yourself creating your world, right? Because right now it's like, yeah, sometimes I manifest things and like the universe gave me this or brought me that, and like that was awesome, but how come with these other things it doesn't seem to work, or like I can't seem to get out of debt, or I can't. Yes. And the reason is just that you're not seeing yourself the way that you were meant to be seen, which is like hugely powerful.
Yeah. And you're giving away your energy. Like imagine when you're trying to attract things, when you're trying, you're giving away all the energy that you have. What if you took back that energy and you just focused it on yourself? Yeah. Focused it on your own power. Focused it on the fact that you are God and you're going to create something wonderful with your life.
Well, and I think it comes back to it. We got so much positive feedback, and my clients still use the phrase "in my reality," which was a previous episode where we shared something Zoe kind of started, which is like, in my reality, this, and you like claim the way that you want it to be.
Yeah.
But it temporarily puts you into that state of power of like, oh yeah, that's right. I get to say how things go in my life and what shows up in my world, and I'm saying no to this, or I'm saying yes to that, right? So it's sort of like that was like a perfect segue into the way that we want you guys to start seeing yourself in 2020. And I think the question probably comes up of like, because I'm saying, what would you endeavor to create if you really believed that like you are God, or that you are an extension of this energy that, as Abraham would call it, this energy that creates worlds. Like what would you do if you believed that? And then I think the question becomes how do you believe that? How do you build that belief? Because that's what everybody in the manifestation world is trying to do, is like believe harder, want it more, visualize more, attract it to you faster. All of that, like Zoe said, implies trying. But we made some notes on the episode before coming in today, and we kind of decided like two things that lead to that fundamental belief and knowing that you are that powerful. One is education. Like one is understanding your relation to the outside world and how it is that you actually do create it. And then two is proving it to yourself. And that's kind of what we've built our upcoming course around.
Yeah.
Right?
So in 4 weeks.
Yeah. 4 weeks
ready.
from now, we want you guys to just do a complete 180 in the way you view yourself and your ability to create virtually anything.
Yeah.
And the way in which you're already like creating your current reality.
Yeah. And just what Laura asked, like, what would you do? Like, what would you do? After you're done listening to this podcast, for a minute, just expand your consciousness and just imagine if you could do anything, there's no rules, what would bring you the most joy, the most fulfillment in this life? What would you do?
Yeah.
If you truly believe that you could create any experience for yourself, what would that be?
Well, and I think like Zoe and I have been talking about this for the first 2 weeks of the year, or like really talked about it a lot in the first 2 weeks of the year, and we really sort of up-leveled our understanding of our own power. And we've been both talking about like, what is it that we want to create? Because it's almost, once you really have the understanding, and like not just the understanding, but like you've proved it to yourself, what you're capable of creating, you really do start to, like, it's almost like scary knowing your power.
Yes.
Because you understand that and how you get to create whatever you want. So I would love to ask you, Zoe, and I'll answer this after, but like having the understanding that you have in terms of, I can create literally anything. I am the creator. I'm not like the attractor.
Yeah.
I create. What is it that you want to create for yourself in 2020?
I want to create my most abundant life. Like details wise, I feel like there's a lot of little scenarios that I want to manifest, which aren't little scenarios, they're actually quantum leaps for myself. But what I would say is that at the end of the year, I want to look back like when it is December, and I want to be so happy and so fulfilled and look back and been like, I can't flippin' believe what this year was.
Yeah.
Like this year was quantum leap after one, after another. And I rode that wave. I was so happy, so abundant. I had amazing memories with my friends and family, and I just did all the things I wanted to do.
Well, and yesterday we decided that 2020 would be the year of quantum leaps. And that's when we were with our friend Trevor, who's already started off by getting engaged to our friend Tara after knowing each other for a very short period of time. We won't go into that too much. But what I will say is, like, Tara is someone who implements the strategy that we're talking about in order to create whatever it is that she wants. And, like, that girl quantum leaps like it's nobody's business. And Zoe and I both have many experiences of that as well. So, like, yeah. So what you're saying is, like, in 2020, you want it to be the year where, like, at the end of this year, you don't recognize anything.
I don't recognize anything as it was, but I just feel like so damn powerful.
Right.
Yeah. And happy, of course.
For me, I like, because this is changing the way in which I view myself, or just really stepping into my power to create, like, really understanding how prevalent it is. And then immediately watching it's like, and this is how I created quantum leaps in my business that allowed me to go full time really quickly, was switching the way in which I view myself from an attractor to a creator instead, which we talked about in our previous episode on this topic. But it's really made me start asking myself, like, what do I really want? I know for me, before I sort of made that transition in terms of how I viewed my ability to manifest whatever I wanted from attraction to creation, I always sort of put limits on what I wanted to create in terms of what I thought was possible, or like how I assumed, you know, let's say lots of money was able to come to me. Like, I figured, like, okay, I need a big team and I need like this many people following me, or I need, like, it has to look this way, because that was the only way that I could conceive it happening or conceive it being, like, attracted to me. Whereas now I feel like, well, I know that I can create anything. So I can envision making lots of money and having it be easy. Like, now in my visualizations that I'm doing, it's one of, like, abundance, but also ease and, like, lots of fun. And I really believe that, and I have lots of evidence for the fact that it can be both. You can have both. It can be abundant. It can be easy. So, like, for me moving forward in terms of what I want to create, I want to create, like, ultimate freedom. Yes. I don't completely know what that looks like yet, but it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, you're just on the way there. Yeah. And as you said, you've taken the path of learning, though, and that's a really great thing, too, is you can recognize where you were at the beginning of becoming an entrepreneur and that journey for you, and how you learned and up-leveled through that, and how viewing yourself more and more as the creator has granted you this power.
Oh, my gosh,
has changed the game for you, really. And I can say the same for myself, too. Like, I've always been open to the law of attraction, but it's more so that I've always seen law of attraction as, now that I'm deep into quantum and all this, but law of attraction is very much on the surface. And if you take the time to dive in and educate, as Laura said, like, it's education, then it's proving to yourself that it's real, that it's possible. And once you kind of go more and more below the surface, you realize, hey, you know what, it's not just about attraction here. It's that I can create it. And there's been so many scenarios in my life too, and I just have had these deja vu moments, but not that deja vu feeling as I've been here before, but I don't remember. It's literally like, I created this. Right. I have visualized this, and now it is here.
Yeah. Well, in one of our upcoming episodes, we're going to talk about, like, what our quantum leaps have been, both of us, looking back at the last, like, especially 5 years for the both of us. So much has happened. And it's all been creation. Yeah. Right? It looks like it's attraction because of the way that, like, things have to unfold so that it makes sense to your logical thinking brain. But I just don't see it as being that anymore. Like, I see it as, like,
inevitable. It was inevitable that was the path once you look back on it too.
Yeah. But, like, what I was going to say was just, I see it as, like, I create it in my mind, and then it plays out in a way that's, like, easy for me to believe or, like, make sense of, I guess. But there are it's crazy, actually. Like, once you experience a quantum leap, which is like your reality shifting in a drastic way in a very short period of time, you're like you could pay off, $20,000 in debt next week or like next month or something that seems so inconceivable, but it always unfolds in a way that's like, oh, yeah, okay, like I see how that happened. Yeah. Even if, so like a lot of time people don't recognize when they've had quantum leaps, right? So, so I think like what we want to leave you guys with is like 2020 is the year that you really step into your power, and that comes, like we said, through one, education, learning like how it is that your thoughts create your reality on like a science level. And Zoe and I are not claiming to be scientists, but we are going to share with you guys over the next number of weeks for the rest of the season and then into our course that we're launching as well, our understanding and application that has really allowed us to create big things in our lives.
Yes.
And then 2, proving it to yourself. We don't want you to take our word for it. We want you to go out and show yourself how you are the god of your own reality.
Yeah. So think about it, guys. What would you create if nothing was off the table and everything was possible?
Yeah.
Think expansive thoughts.
Stop playing small.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well,
thanks,
thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening. And we'll talk to you next time. Thank you guys so much for spending a piece of your day with us and tuning into the Lo and Zoe Show.
If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate it and share on social media. Be sure to tag us.
Until next time,
stay abundant.